Shocking. They're lost in the woods. Who could have predicted that? Hooray! I kind of feel like a hippie clown. A bunch of other clowns. Not my favorite thing. Welcome to my Jantes Inferno vlog. I am going to be vlogging for Jantes Inferno. If you didn't know, this is a readathon. So this is Jan Agathon from Jan Agathon's readathon that she does in February. And it is a readathon where you start at the bottom in the 9th circle of hell and you try to get out of hell by following some prompts, and I'll put them on the screen. The first two are a book with a dark premise and a backlist book. So for that, I'm going to start with, The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. And then I'm also alongside it reading Moonflow, which I'm not sure what prompt I'm going to use this for yet. I mean, I could use it for a dark premise if I don't double up on The Year of the Witching. I could use it as a cover buy because it's definitely an interesting cover. I started this as well this morning because it's Friday, the first day of the readathon, and I started this too on audio. So for a backlist prompt, I decided to read The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. I've had this on my shelf for a really long time. I actually picked it up at the library sale for $1, so that was a great buy. A nice hardcover for $1. This book is following Emmanuel, I believe her name is. Yeah, Emmanuel. And she lives in an insular community, religious community. Sort of, they look like almost like Puritan-esque, where they're very strict, but it's polygamous group where the prophet has many wives, and a lot of times they're younger. And when they get married, they get this star carved on their forehead, which is interesting. They are said to be witches in the woods and to not go into the dark wood. And Emmanuel, our girl, is kind of a coming of age. I think she's like 15, 16. She is sort of has this curse following her. Her mother was said to have fallen in love with this boy, got pregnant, and ran away and was harbored by the dark woods, and then passed away while she was having Emmanuel. So she's looked down upon, and her family, they look down upon in the village as, from a sinner. So she's not sure what her prospects are. And then circumstances happen, and there starts to be curses on the town, and of course, who do they look at first? The different kind of cultiness of the community and the outskirts. There's people on the outskirts that are sort of part of the community, but in a different way. Emmanuel is having a relationship with the prophet's son, who is the heir. She's hoping that he will make things better for this community when he succeeds his father. And but it's not looked on well for him to be hanging out with her. So there is that. I'm actually really liking this so far. I think I'm on like page 200 so far. And I'm also 88 pages into Moonflow by Bitter Corella. This follows a trans woman who studies mushrooms and grows mushrooms in her apartment to sell shrooms, psychedelic mushrooms. And she goes to sell these mushrooms to one of her buyers, and they're like, oh, those mushrooms are all tired. No one's into those now. Everyone's into this new mushroom called King's Breakfast, which you're supposed to take, and then it's supposed to open up your mind so you can commune with gods beyond human imagination or whatever. So she goes into these woods that are very they have a very bad reputation with hikers, said to drive men crazy, etc., to look for these mushrooms. And then there's also this man-hating women cult that lives in the woods, and they all have really weird nicknames. They all are very open with each other, sexually and otherwise, and they're naked all the time and barefooted and in the woods, communing with nature, etc. They say that they worship some god, and I forget what the name of it is. And Moonflow is the prophetess or leader of the group. Yeah, we don't really know much about it yet. That's where I am at with this. I'm liking it so far. I don't really know what I think about it. I'm not thinking anything negative or positive at this point, other than I'm entertained and it's interesting enough. Green Lady is what they call the god, and then Mother Moonflow is the leader of the weird cult in this. And they all have weird nicknames like Hell Slut and Sunny Delight and the Frog Sisters. And what are some other ones? Skillet. Yeah, I don't know what's the deal with them yet, other than they hate men and they've killed some men, and they live in the forest and they worship the green lady. But I am a sucker for a forest story and nature, and they're in the, I think, North California, Pacific Northwest, so that's pretty cool. Hush! I'm gonna pick up my daughter since it's Friday. I'm picking up her friend too, and we're gonna go sledding at Grammy's house because she has a good hill, and that's where the sleds live because she has a good hill. And then we're gonna go to the grocery store and get snacks, and then she's having a sleepover. My son is going to the movies. He's gonna go see Iron Lung with his dad and his friend because they are under 17, and we're not sure how strict the theater is about kids going to see rated R movies these days. I am at pickup. We're gonna go sledding. I have a friend coming over later for some wine, and it should be an interesting and busy Friday night before it gets super freezing again. I mean, it's cold now. It's 34 degrees, but it's supposed to be, it feels like -15 or something on Sunday. Ugh. And we're supposed to get a little bit more snow tomorrow. Hooray! This is her window seat that I'm super jealous of. Maybe someday. Look right out on the lake. She's got a birdie. Such a pretty house. You can see the girls out there sledding, because no thanks. You can barely see them, but I can see them. They're at the very top. I'm going to read a little more while they sled. Who knows how long they're going to last, though. Who could have predicted that? Her guide, Andy, yeah, Andy's his name. Her guide through the woods, he gave her these pills that are some sort of mild drug or something, and it's supposed to make it so you're not scared anymore, because it says if you get scared in the woods, you get confused and you might die from exposure or get really lost. So you're supposed to take these pills, and all it basically makes you do is forget. So yeah, you get scared, you start getting scared, so you take the pills so you don't care anymore, and then you forget what you were scared of. So if you realize the pills are gone, that means you got scared, you took the pills, but you don't remember what happened. So right now they're noticing that some of their pills are missing, but they have no idea why, and now they're lost. Who knows? I'm enjoying it though. Okay, so I finished Moonflow. You could probably tell by the cover that this gets wild and unhinged and crazy. And I would say that I really enjoyed the first maybe 100 pages at the most. And then I enjoyed the last 50 pages or so. The rest was not for me. So we have this trans woman who is going to this forest to try to find these mushrooms. And there's also this cult in the woods that they get mixed up with. They are a very weird and graphic and crude parody of a militant lesbian group who are a bunch of TERFs. They're not violent towards her or anything. It's okay, let's not say that. But when she comes in contact with them, they're not anyway. But they just are like, you're not a real woman, and you wouldn't know, and blah, 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 blah. So she gets all mixed up with them. And then there is some crazy mushroom stuff going on. You don't really know how much is real and how much is hallucination. There's a pregnant person in here as well. So I'm going to give this a 2, I think. And that's sad because I do think that there's some really cool stuff towards the end of this. And I really kind of like the beginning when we were trying to figure out what was happening, what was going on, and what the forest was all about. And Sarah was getting messages, and they were lost, but once they find this cult, I really didn't like it until the very end when shit went down. The writing style in this is very crude. There's so much talk of women's bodies and boobies and titties and flabby bellies and all of that. And there's some talk of men's bodies too, but it's mostly women. And they call the trans woman a phallic Alec. And they all have crude names, like Hell, I think it's Hell Slut and Pickles and Skillet and Virginia Dentata, but that one was kind of funny. But they all have in this cult nicknames, and Mother Moonflow and Green Lady is the goddess they worship, and then Lord of the Forest is the male equivalent of it or whatever. Anyway, the writing style was just a little bit too crude and crass for me. And I know it's like a parody, it's supposed to be sort of like making fun of those militant turvy groups. I felt like you could have done that without some of this language. Like there's a lot of profanity in here, which I don't care about profanity. Like it doesn't bother me, but just the way it was written just seemed it almost made it like clunky to me. And it took me out of the story a lot. And I didn't care about the characters at all. The character development in here was just it did not work for me. It was very plot driven, which for me, I need character development. I'm a very character driven reader, and I like a plot driven book, but there has to be the character behind it too. And for me, I didn't find it in here. However, definitely some cool imagery, some graphic writing, some cool scenes in here. Like I said, I just didn't care all that much. It was not a win. I was intrigued enough throughout the whole thing to keep reading, but just barely. Like I almost DNF'd this. And so I'm going to give it a 2 stars. A 2-star rating. I would suggest that if you don't mind, the writing almost reminds me of Futility, if you've read that. But at the same time, that worked better for me than this. Maybe because it was shorter, that I didn't get tired of it as fast. And, the characters in there are equally unlikable as the characters in here. Like, you're not supposed to like them, obviously. I didn't really like any of the characters in here. Andy was all right. He was just like, kind of clueless. And Sarah was okay. I didn't mind her at all. But the rest of them were supposed to be and were awful. Don't know what I'm going to pick up next. I'm thinking, so this, I could use it for a dark premise, but I'm also reading this, which is more is a backlist, and this could also be used for a dark premise if I want to double up. So I may just save this and put this for cover read, which was definitely a cover read. Just kind of continue on. I think another one that's coming up. So there's dark premise, a backlist, dark premise, a book that's part of a trilogy. So I could read this, which I want to read anyway. And then it also has a red or orange on the cover. So it could be for that. But I also need to read, or at least try to read The Macabre, and this is another Black author, so that would be good. Well, this is too, so I guess it could be either one. But this I'm out of holds for at the library on the 11th. I have to return it, and it's the 7th, so I think I might start one or both of these next, and I still need to finish The Year of the Witching. I am 271 pages into this, so yes, I have less than 100 pages to go. This is another Cult in the Forest, insulated community kind of book, so that's interesting that I read both of them. Much prefer this. This, I think, will be at least a 4 for me. I love the writing, I love the atmospheric setup of this, and I am liking where we're going with it now, where she has found some allies outside of the insular community, and so I'm liking that, and I'm interested to see where that's going. She's learning about and discovering seedy underbellies of the community, and, you know, bad men taking advantage of their power. Shocking. Then there starts to be these horrible things happening in the community where people are getting sick and the water is not good anymore, etc. And she's trying to figure out what's happening with that and how to stop it, because she thinks that she is somehow responsible for it. So we're learning all about how, you know, this community is not so good. Surprise. Men suck, or powerful men doing bad things to women. But it's interesting, and children. I finished The Year of the Witching last night. I'm going to give this a 4. I don't think I have too much more to add. I did enjoy the ending. I thought the ending went the way I wanted it to. I was a little worried. I was like, oh, it's all going to sort of resolve, and this community is going to change super fast, which is unrealistic. But I think the way this was done was better than I expected. So yeah, I'm going to give this 4 stars. And this will be for my level 9 and 8 of Hell, so Backlist and Dark Premise. Unless the way I'm doing this is I'm reading books that will complete the levels, 2 levels per book, but I'm also trying to read enough books to not double up, so I might have to switch things around in the end. Either way, I'm planning on getting out of Hell, so that is the plan. And then I also last night started, where'd my book go? Oh, over here. I started Eternal Ruin because this is going to be for part of a trilogy, and this is the second book in, I don't know what the series is called, but the first one's Immortal Dark, and this is the second book in that series, and there is going to be a third. It says online that it is a trilogy, and then the cover has red or orange in it. This is the naked hardcover of it, but I'm only, I think, like 30 pages into this so far, 35 pages into this so far, so I don't really have any feelings on it yet. I'm trying to get back into the world and remember what happened in the first book. I did not reread Immortal Dark before reading this, but I'm finding I'm able to follow it just fine. I'm just, you know, as I'm reading it, I'm remembering what happened in the first one, more of the details, and I don't know how much I'm going to be able to talk about this, obviously, because it is the second book in the series. But in this we have Kadan, and in the first one her sister goes missing, and she attends this dark academia-esque school where there are these families and they have vampires that serve their houses, and she wants to inherit this house because she definitely doesn't want the vampire to inherit the house, and she has to learn the laws of the house and figure out what happened to her sister. So that's what's happening in the first one. That's what was happening in the first one, and the characters in this, especially Kadan, is like very morally gray. I would say even leaning on the darker side to morally gray. We're learning about these vampires, and in this world the vampires are very controlled by the houses, have like 3 laws put on them. Let's see if I can remember. One is they can't make any other vampires unless they die themselves. They can only drink the blood of people from the houses. And there's another one. Oh, their powers are like tempered down, so they can't have their full power. That's kind of lame. I'm going to see what happens with that in here, and I think it may have been done for good reason because the vampires were too powerful, but now they really are almost just like beholden to these houses. So oh yeah, these girls are watching me cook. Yeah. Yummy, yummy. Alright, so it's nighttime, so the lighting's awful in here. I am currently waiting around because my son's at a Super Bowl party and I'm gonna have to pick him up in a bit. So it's late already. It's late for me anyway. I usually am in bed by now. It's 9:12. Anyways, hope everyone had a good Super Bowl Sunday. I am not watching the Super Bowl. I'm just waiting around to pick my son up from a party because he's watching the Super Bowl with his friends, and we're in Connecticut, so everyone roots for the Patriots. I don't really care. It's not going well for them, so I could probably pick them up now. I don't think it's gonna change too much. Anyways, I have been reading quite a bit today. I have gotten almost 200 pages into this. I'm hoping to finish this tomorrow, but I still have 300 pages left. So I'm not sure if that is realistic since I don't have the audiobook for this one, but we'll see. You never know. I could surprise myself. But I'm liking it. It took me a while to get back into the world, but it's starting to gel in my brain now again. So that is good. But there's a lot of rules and lessons and laws, things of that nature in this world. So it's kind of hard to keep everything together in my brain from one book to the next. But I'm still liking it. There's also these artifacts that they're trying to find for reasons. And I can't really tell you much about it because we're also a big arc of the first book, you know, happens, and I don't want to spoil anything for you. I suspect it'll be somewhere between a 3 and a 4 star. It's a middle book, so we'll see. Maybe it'll get exciting and have a good arc to it, but who knows at this point. You're interrupting me. I was recording. Okay, so I got interrupted yesterday and then I was too sleepy, so I didn't update you or continue what I was saying. He's staying up until almost 11 and then the pug waking me up at midnight to go to the bathroom. It did not do well for my energy levels today. So I just put on this hat and my literally dead sweatshirt. And that's just what it's going to be today until maybe I take a shower later. So I just filmed a 9-minute clip updating you guys, not realizing that I didn't flip the camera. So I have literally videotaped a wall for those 9 minutes. So that's great. So I'm just going to put a voiceover in here with a picture of me holding up the books I was talking about. So hopefully that's okay for you guys. I know most YouTube videos I end up listening to only anyway. So, and putting on for background noise. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. So feel free to speed me up. Always, 100% of the time. I prefer me sped up. That's how I listen to myself. There we go. Like I said, I am on page 246 of Eternal Ruin. The first book is basically about her trying to figure out what happened to her sister and learning about this world that at Uxley where she had been kind of sheltered from, but her parents were a part of. Getting more information in this about there are other houses outside of Uxley that are not part of this group, I guess. I don't know. Some of the rules and boundaries muddy for me still. I am understanding enough to enjoy the story though. Yeah, I'm still really liking this. I really like that the side characters are getting a little bit more developed. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but I really like Atet. She works in the house that Kadan is part of. And then I'm really liking Taj. He's another vampire. He's one of Sisenios' friends. And we're getting a lot more information about the murders of her parents. We're getting more details about that. We're getting more details about her sister and their relationship together. And still very morally great character. More development of Sisenios and Kadan's relationship. It's very fraught and they're very much enemies to lovers, but like barely lovers. You know, they're mostly still enemies and they have differing goals. Still interesting. Like, it's an intriguing world for sure, but it is a bit confusing, especially not reading them back to back, but I'm still really liking this. So I'm hoping to finish this today. I don't know if that's possible. I also started Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones for the involves a dog prompt. I'm counting Wolf as a dog. It's close enough. It's a dog circle of hell because of the hellhound, and you know, close enough. Canines, they're all siblings. If I need to, I will pair it with the genre I'm passionate about prompt because I'm passionate about horror. Yeah, so this will be good. The plan is I read Dear the Witching. That'll cover Dark Premise and a backlist. I'm reading Eternal Ruin now, which will cover part of a trilogy and red or orange cover. I read Moonflow, which will cover grumpy character and a cover read. And then Mongrels I am reading for dog/genre I'm passionate about. And then I'll have to read one more. If I could finish these 2 books today, which I don't know if that'll happen, but if I could finish most of them today and start that last book tomorrow, then I will be able to get out of hell pretty early. And then if that happens before Thursday, on Thursday, I'm going to do a special Jan Agathoning cramming vlog to see if I can go through and read the other 3 books I would need to not double up, or 3 or 4 books I would need, and just like do novellas or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens this week. Oh, I'm very sleepy, so I might need to take a nap. It's a little bit later now. I ended up making myself go for a run. It feels like 15-degree temperature. I was really feeling it after a while. It was fine at first. I got all suited up and I did like a few things around here, chores and stuff, and I warmed up a bit, and then I went out and ran. And I would say like my legs and my stomach, like I don't know why I didn't put a vest on over my fleece. I definitely should have. It was cold. I ran 4 miles, but I'm glad I did it. I think I just needed to get outside. My anxiety, I don't know if I've spoken about this before, but I got diagnosed with a panic disorder when my daughter was about 18 months old. I'd always been a nervy person, but it just got to the point where I was having trouble functioning, and like I was just nauseous all the time because of my anxiety. I all of a sudden like dropped 15 pounds for no reason other than I don't think I was eating very much because I was just so anxious all the time. Because I mean, you have kids, you're anxious, you get a little nervy, but I got to the point where it was clinical. Like I was anxious. I was panicking about possibly having a panic attack. So yeah, so that was a while ago, but lately, the last few days, I'm just having bad anxiety days for absolutely no reason. It's so annoying. Perfectly capable of functioning in my life, and there should be no reason for me to have anxiety except for my stupid brain chemistry and family history. So anyway, so I ran, and then I got home, then I took a bath, because the only way for me to warm up that cold of a run is to shower and then get in a hot bath and just sit there and until my body starts. I never even start sweating in the hot bath. Like usually if I don't go for a run and I just want to like a warm soak, like I'll start sweating after a while. Once my body like gets too overheated. Nope. I was still chilly, but once I finally got out, dried off, put my pajama pants back on and stuff, now I'm feeling warm, so that's good. And now I'm sitting here watching Gavin on the TV, and then I'm going to continue reading. So I got quite a bit of the way into this on my run. I was listening to it. I got to page 209, so I'm over 60% of the way into this. So I should be able to finish this today if I have a little more listening time. Or tomorrow. Sometimes when I have a lot of anxiety, it's almost better to listen to an audiobook, because then I can also do something with my hands, like color, or some people crochet, but I tried to do that and I liked that because you really can't think of anything else while you're crocheting because you have to like count and stuff. But I didn't like it because I couldn't do anything else, like watching TV or whatever, listening to audiobooks. I couldn't concentrate on 2 things at once, but I can do that when I color or play a video game or something. So that might be a good idea to just sit and listen to the rest of this now. But I'm going to try to read Eternal Ruin until the kid gets home in another 2 hours. So we shall see. But I am liking this. This is very Stephen Graham Jones style writing, where it's a bit of stream of consciousness, but not really. Like it's mostly tales from this boy whose aunt and uncle who are raising him are both werewolves, and him just going through life, having to deal with that fact and having to move around a lot every time something might happen, and him learning about what it's like to be a werewolf and what to do and how to act and how to survive. And he has not changed yet. They don't know if he's going to, because his mother never did. He did show signs of it when he was a baby, I guess. I'm liking the descriptions of werewolves in here. I'm liking this is a little bit different. There's this one thing they're talking about how wolves age faster when they're in their dog form. So the more time, their wolf form. So the longer they spend in wolfing out, then the shorter their lifespan is, because they are aging in dog years, which makes a lot of sense. Makes more sense than the Twilight werewolves that just stop aging as long as they keep wolfing out. It's like the opposite in here. I mean, the way that this is described, it does not seem like it's very fun to be a werewolf. Not being able to control what you're eating, and being very, very attracted by French fry grease once you've had it as a human, so much so that you go and find humans that are eating these French fries and eat the humans, and then you have to move again because catch up to eventually and start hunting down those werewolves in the town. This is very non-linear. You're getting stories about when he's very small, and then it goes up to stories when he's older, and then it goes back, and then there's also interludes where you're assuming that it's him they're talking about, but they're telling more stories. And obviously these werewolves are very morally gray. You know, they're kind of a different species. So and they've talked about, you know, what about if a werewolf has relations with a regular wolf or a dog when they're in wolf form? What happens with those babies? And what happens a born werewolf bites a person? And lots of questions being answered in here. I think it's done very well, and it's an interesting take on werewolves. It's a boy, huh? Hi, baby. Tuesday of the readathon now, and so I have 3 more days left. I finished Mongrels last night. I did enjoy this. I liked the take on werewolves and some of the different things that we were learning about them there. I think I had already discussed about, and how it was very scattered in ways, like you would go back and forth between the stories that he was being told and things that were actually happening in here. And throughout the whole book, you're wondering, is he going to turn into a werewolf? Is he not going to turn into a werewolf? We don't know. And I enjoyed this. I would say that, I think I'm going to give it a 3.5. I don't know. I just got kind of tired of it towards the end. It's almost written in a way like as short stories, and I don't necessarily mind a non-linear book, but I just didn't feel like I was able to get as invested in the characters as I would like to, the writing style. Maybe it's because the family is just moving around so much because of their nature, because they're werewolves. But it just didn't feel like we really got to know anyone all that well. And I guess like that's the point, you know, they have to move around. They don't really get to know people all that well, but it almost came across as more like a short story, where I have a problem reading short stories a lot of the time where I just don't feel like I get enough. A well-written short story can be great, but I do think that they're probably my least favorite fiction. I'd much prefer novellas and full-length novels, and this kind of felt like it was a bunch of short stories. Obviously they're interconnected, but there's just something about this for me that I liked it. I enjoyed it a lot, but it's just not one of my favorites from Stephen Graham Jones, but it's still something I would recommend reading. I think just the road trip nature of it, the transient nature of the characters, and then also I just didn't feel like I got invested in the main characters as much as I would have liked to. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 3.5 just for my enjoyment level, but it's very well written, and Stephen Graham Jones is still one of my faves. I'm very scattered today, so who knows. So that wouldn't be the first circle, it'd be the second and third circle of hell, I think, for Mongrels. So I still need to get, so this would be for the 7th and 6th circle of hell to get out of. So I'm kind of mixing it up and skipping around a bit. So I have my ticket out of the 2nd and 3rd level of hell, but I still haven't gotten my ticket to get out of the 7th and 6th level. So, and I have my ticket to get out of the 5th and the 4th level too, because that will be Moonflow. So I just need to finish this, and then I have one more book I need to read, and I'll be out of hell. So that's good. Anyways, I don't know. I am on page 418 of Eternal Ruin. What do I think about this book? I'm entertained by it. I'm intrigued by it, but I don't feel like I have a full grasp on everything that is going on. I'm just kind of vibing with it. I still like it. Really, I'm liking some of the developments. It just seems a bit scattered to me, and it could be me and the fact that I read the last one when it came out, so it's been a while. There's a lot going on in this. A lot going on. And I really like the side characters more than I like our main characters. Our main characters are fine, but I much prefer the side characters. I like Taj a lot. I like someone else that I can't tell you who it is in here a lot. I think they're more intriguing. There's some other vampires that I just find more intriguing. And then there's someone else. Oh, who's the monk guy? What is his name? I don't know. The monk guy is like two letters, but I really like him. He's interesting, but we don't get a ton from him. And I can't remember what his thing is. Here's the map. See how this is sort of a representation. See how kind of convoluted and cluttered this map is and hard to read? This kind of represents my feelings about this book. I wouldn't say it's hard to read, but it's just like, there's a lot going on. Hold in your brain. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking because I have no real thoughts. And I finished Eternal Ruin. Oh, the ending. The ending is so... I said on Instagram that she just gets hit over and over and over again. Bam, this person dies. Bam, someone betrays you. Bam, oh, something is not as to be expected. Bam, you find out these are the people that are responsible for, you know, her parents dying, and then there's more that I'm not going to say, obviously, but it's just like, damn, girl. That's the kind of thing, that's my criticism of this book. It's just like, it just keeps coming over and over and over and over again. But I will say, I was entertained by it. I mean, it's 3.5. It's a middle book, but the ending made me curious to see what's going to happen next. And I was entertained the whole time. It's the vibe. So yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 3.5. I'm interested to see where it goes. There's a few relationships, like I said, I like the side characters that I would like to move forward in the next book too. My brain hurts. Yeah, I wasn't expecting my brain to hurt so much from this kind of a fantasy. But yeah, I've been sitting here coloring, so I'll show you some of my coloring. I finished one and I don't like how it turned out. I did too much. I wasn't like how it was going, so I kept on adding to it. It was making it worse, but I'll show you. Since this is a Jan readathon, I thought I'd do a little coloring. So this one, this is not looking so good. And let's see, I started this one. So that means I only have one more book to get out of hell if I'm doubling up. So that's good. If I could finish one more book today, which I don't know if I will, but if I could finish between today and tomorrow, I should be able to finish one more book. And then Thursday, I could just try to like get a bunch of little ones in to fill out so I don't have to double up. So we'll see. I'm going to make that like a Jan inspired cramming vlog situation, not a cramming situation, cramming vlog. Maybe I'll split this into 2 vlogs. We'll see. I'm trying to think if I'm going to go run. It's not too bad today. And I think we're supposed to get a little bit of snow tonight, because that's what we need is more snow. We have like 18 inches on the ground still, but it's in the 20s, which isn't too bad. It's sunny. It doesn't look like it's windy out, so I could definitely get a run in today. I do want to lift a little bit, but I also like want to be lazy. But I'm feeling better anxiety-wise today, so that is good. Some days I just have days where I feel like I'm running away from a lion for no reason. My body. It's good times. Gotta love it. There's Briar in the snow. She's far away. You can't see her. But she'll just sit out here all day if I let her. My little mountain dog mutt. Oh, baby.
Yes, sir. I said tomato. For some reason, the snow feels sweet on my tongue.
Squirrels in the sun.
Following the sun around like a kitty cat, huh? I'm going to go to laundry and then put the laundry that I cleaned on so I'm going to run. That's some fun.
So I went for a run. It was pretty good. I did 3 miles. And the weather is not quite above freezing, but almost. So it's not too bad. I'll take it. Showered and went on my run. And on my run, I started listening to My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney as my last book. I'm already 40% of the way through. Listen to it on 2 times speed. And nobody's who we think they are. Maybe, and I have no idea what's going on, but I'm having fun. So, you know, it's a thriller, and when I listen to thrillers, or read thrillers, it's always like, I want to know what happens, so it'll keep my attention, and how I feel about a book will completely depend on how it ends. Yeah, so I'm listening to that. I'm about to make myself some yogurt with some raspberries and some almonds in it, and maybe some Fiber One, because it's 1:25 and all I've had is an English muffin so far. I'm also going to make myself some hot chocolate, and I need to try to start reading The Macabre, because that's due tomorrow at the library, and I don't know if I care enough to read it. So I want to start that and just check it out and see how I feel about it. My Husband's Wife is a thriller by Alice Feeney about a woman who goes out on a run, and when she gets home, her key doesn't work in the lock, and the person that answers the door says that she's actually lives there and that her husband is that lady's husband, trying to figure out what the heck's going on. There does seem to be maybe some paranormally weird stuff going on, which would be cool if that was actually the case. Sometimes you think there is and then there isn't, and that's sad. So we'll see how things go. I got this crazy outfit on that I got, and honestly I don't know if I like it. I like the sweater, but it's like a romper situation, and I kind of feel like a hippie clown. I don't know where I could put you so that you could see. Maybe there. I don't know. No, you still really can't see. I'll have to do it somewhere else, but Yes, I feel like a bit of a hippie clown. But it's super comfy, so like, do I care? Do I care how I feel about my life? I don't know. Still gonna be hard for you guys to see, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like I could have come out of a car with about a bunch of other clowns. But it's super comfy. Like, I don't know. Kind of feels like a moo-moo, but maybe I'm entering my moo-moo era. I am 42 years old, so. I feel like one of those used car wiggly guys. I don't know. I'm waiting for my daughter to get out of her after school thing at the youth center. They all walk down to there and they get to hang out until 4:30 if they want to. So I usually do a few errands and then go and grab her. So that's what I did. I had a book that I had ordered at the indie store pay for with my Christmas gift card. Come in, it was I, Medusa. For some reason this was back ordered and it took a couple weeks to come in. So I'll get to read that soon, which I'm excited about. I started reading The Macabre because this is due tomorrow. I honestly don't know if I'll be able to get all the way through this. If I'm super interested in it, then I'll just keep an extra day and pay the fine, which is like at our library, it's pay what you want. So I could literally pay like a penny and they would take the fine off my card. So we really don't have fines anymore, but I do try not to rack them up. And I do try to return things on time because I don't like having that red mark on my record when I log into my library app. Anyway, and then I have been listening to My Husband's Wife on and off today, and it's definitely intriguing. There's a lot going on. There's a company that is supposed to be able to tell you what day you're going to die, and there's a cool seaside mansion that maybe has something weird going on. And there's a woman who died twice, apparently. There's women gone missing, and there's a suicide spot, and there's this younger cop guy who seems kind of shady. The men always seem shady. So I'm interested to see where this is going. I have no idea. I'm not going to be able to guess, and that's fine. But it's definitely, you know, keeping me interested and wanting to get through this really fast. I'm already at 58%, and I just started this today. So we'll see. Either I'll finish it today while I'm making dinner and doing dishes and stuff, or I'll finish it tomorrow. Maybe I'll color a little bit today. I also need to edit because I have a vlog from last week that I need to get up. So we will see how much I want to devote to this. But yeah, I'm hoping that The Macabre, I'm hoping I like it because I really do love the book. It's so pretty, and used for a cover by because it's just a pretty book. There's a guy who's goes into fugue states and paints things that maybe sometimes come true, prophesized. And there are these 10 paintings from this famous painter that supposedly painted before the very first of this style of paintings happened or whatever, and there's some sort of magic involved. Our main character ends up going into these paintings, and I mean, that's just happened once since I started, so it's interesting enough so far. It definitely seems more fantasy than a horror point, other than the paintings being super creepy, but I just started, so we shall see. So my daughter just came out of her after school thing, and look what she made me. It's so cute! For my bookshelf, she said, for Valentine's Day. I love it so much. There's a gnome in there, and there's mushrooms, because she loves, I love gnomes and mushrooms and moss. I love it. Yes, I'm a big dork. I'm sorry. No one ever thinks about what I might like. I always have to tell them. Thank you. After dinner, finishing up My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney, and I think I'm gonna give it a 3. I don't know. I was entertained, but there's maybe 2 or 3 too many twists for me. I think that if you go into it knowing that it's gonna go a little crazy off the rails, then you might like it more, but it went a little bit too off the rails for me towards the end there. But it was entertaining. It was a thriller. Don't come to me for thriller recs because I think they're all kind of stupid. Hot take. They're fun. Like, they're fun. They're like silly and stupid. Like Frida McFadden, I've never given more than a 3-star. I think I've read 4 of hers and I've given them all like a 2 or a 3. It's just not my favorite thing. Okay. So for me to give a thriller like a 4 or 5, it has to be interesting. It has to not go too crazy to the point where I have to suspend all of my brain functioning. And then I have to not be made angry by it. Like it comes out of completely left field. I think this one it didn't come out of left field. I think if I read it again, I could see where everything came from. But I also think that when you're reading, it's like, really, 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 ugh, you know? I think you have to suspend your disbelief a lot for that. But it's definitely still entertaining. I don't know if I liked it better than, what was the last one? Probably about the same. So with that, I have made it out of hell. Yay! I made it out of hell! Out of the first level of hell. Yay! So exciting. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below. My husband's home and he thinks I'm crazy.